Okay, welcome to BCIS 3347. My name is Dr. Schuessler, and I'm your professor this semester. So one of the things I like to do is start off with an introductory video that shows you around Blackboard where things are located, and hopefully to help you kind of get around and navigate a little bit more smoothly and efficiently. Another video will be over the syllabus, and we can talk about that in that video. So this is our course shell. Once it's done, this course under construction section will disappear. So that's your cue to know that it's done. Two videos I was just referring to are located right there. If you've already looked at them, they're for previous semesters. This one obviously is for spring 2018 that I'm doing right now. Not a lot has changed, but just in case, I like to keep them updated. Tweets are in this next section. I tweet things out that are relevant to the course, that are relevant to higher education, things like that. And then finally at the bottom we have help desk etiquette and computer use policy. If you're having issues with Blackboard, contact the help desk. They should be able to take care of most of your issues over the phone. Also, there is etiquette. If you're not familiar with online courses and how to interact properly online, take a look at that policy. Basically, just be polite to those you're interacting with. Lastly, we have the computer use policy. Even though this is an online class and you're probably accessing the course from your own device, keep in mind that you are accessing a university system. So as a result, be sure you're not doing anything that you wouldn't do in public. On the left-hand side here, we have the navigation structure, I should say. The very top part, we have the home button, which will bring you back to this same page. And we have two links for the syllabus and the schedule, and we'll cover those in the next video, but they're separate documents, Google Docs, that will open up into their own tab. The next section is over to lectures. These are older ones. I include them just out of, hopefully to kind of help you out, but they're from older editions of the text and back when I've taught the class face-to-face. They're not particularly good videos, but I provide them there just sort of as an extra resource. So you don't have to watch those, but they're there for you. This next section, deliverables, is the section that students are usually the most interested in because they want to know what it's going to take to be successful in class, what they're going to get graded on, things like that. So assessments is the first one. And you'll see that all the assessments are posted, all of them except for the post-test. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But you can see that all the assessments are posted from day one. They do start disappearing after the due date and time. So keep that in mind. I don't take late assignments, so don't wait till after the due date and time to try to start one. It won't be there to start. So the pre-test and the post-test are essentially the same test. The pre-test you take at the very beginning of the semester, and it tells me your incoming knowledge about the class. It doesn't matter how well or how poorly you do, you're going to get your points that are associated with that pre-test as long as you complete it. So do your best because I want an accurate assessment, but don't stress over it. Assessment 0 is over the syllabus. Make sure you've read the syllabus and you kind of have an idea of what's in it, where things are located. You can certainly print it out if you want or have it open in a second monitor to refer to, but it is a timed test. So make sure you've read through the syllabus first and know where things are. The goal behind it is just to make sure that you've read it and are pretty comfortable with the syllabus. After that, all of the quizzes are pretty straightforward. Again, they're timed. I don't reset quizzes. I drop your lowest quiz scores. So I don't reset quiz scores or the exact tests. Also keep in mind that each test is password protected using the password test, T-E-S-T, all lowercase, and that's really just to prevent you from accidentally starting one. So there's really no excuse to say, hey, can you reset it? I accidentally started it, or hey, my computer crashed. That's all fine and good. I do drop your lowest quiz scores to address those kinds of issues, so keep that in mind. Homework is the next section, and homework's also already posted. The homework's actually done in test out. So some of you may have used this before, others may not have. The information you need for test out is right here. This promotion code is going to save you a lot of money. I don't recall the cost off the top of my head, but I think it's around $117 or something like that. So keep that in mind when you register there. This is the actual section within TestOut that you're going to use to associate the class with my section. Homework 0 is a little bit different than the other homeworks. Homework 0 is completing your examinee profile if you haven't already done so, creating a Google Drive folder that you share with me and give me specific rights, and then lastly, completing an information sheet. So if you want to see how you're going to be scored on that, click on the assignment. You can view the rubric, see how you're going to be scored, and then as far as submitting the link, come over here and click Write Submission. Put your link in there, HW0, for example. Create your link, and if any of this is confusing, just look at the video right there, and that'll help show you how to create a clickable link. After that, the rest of the homework is in TestOut, and it's the same kind of thing. You're going to click on the actual assignment. You're going to submit the link. You're going to download your score from TestOut. You'll upload it right in here. So you'll say HW1, again, create the link right there, and then end up submitting it. And you'll do that for each homework assignment. So as you can see, like I said earlier, all your homework assignments are already posted. So feel free to work ahead a little bit. Don't get too far ahead. You want to stay engaged in the class, but work ahead a little bit, just that way you don't get behind. Discussion boards, all the discussion boards are posted. There's an individual assignment or individual project that we're doing in this class, and the way that I do it maybe is a little bit different than some of the other professors. I have you share your projects with the rest of the class throughout the semester, and I do that via the discussion boards. So before we get to that, the very first one is over introductions. We've already exchanged some pleasantries there. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about me and some of your classmates. If you have not posted an introduction yet, please feel free to do so. If you have general questions that you think your peers might be interested in hearing the answer to, or you see something that one of your peers has posted, please feel free to respond in the Ask the Professor and Your Peers discussion board. I don't think it will apply to any of you, but just in case, if you're interested, if you've got something that you need to ask a librarian, there is one that is monitoring this class, so you can feel free to post that in there. And then, like I said, something that I do that I think is a little bit different is for the semester projects, I have you essentially share your project with the rest of the class. So the very first part of your semester project is creating the logical diagram. So first I start out talking a little bit about the importance of a logical diagram, what it is, things like that. I go through and give you some key things that you really should be looking at. I give you kind of a sample one. It's hard to see, but that's sort of on purpose. But you can kind of get an idea of some of the things that are going on in a logical diagram there. I give you some other sites that will help kind of point you in the right direction and give you some tips and tricks on logical diagrams. And then I give you the specifics on the discussion board component of this. So there's basically three parts. There are three posts. The very first post is due on or before the Wednesday, or actually the very first post is before the week even begins in which the discussion board is due. So the Sunday before the discussion board is due, you need to post the link to your semester project. That's just a link to your Google Doc, and that's where you're going to keep everything in that same document throughout the semester. Then before Wednesday, or on or before Wednesday, you need to have reviewed your peers' work. Take a look at it and give them some constructive feedback. Constructive feedback is not saying, hey, that looks really good. Constructive feedback is you really need to think about the number of routers that you have or the number of switches that you're using in this particular diagram, or the narrative that you're using or something. You need to give them something that's going to help them improve their narrative or their diagram in a significant way. This is supposed to be an engaging component of the class, so I need you to come back later on in the week. You can't just make a bunch of posts at the beginning of the week or at the end of the week and get full credit. So you need to come back Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday and make another post doing the same thing. Either respond to a question that a student has raised about your project, or go look and investigate another student's project. And again, same thing. What can they do to substantively improve their project? Finally, on Sunday, the day in which the discussion board is actually due, you need to post a reflective post. Reflective posts are very important. They help you to kind of think about what you've learned over the course of the week or over the course of the semester so far. So that's the purpose behind this reflective post. Specifically, what I want you to do in that post is copy this text right here and then paste it into your post and replace this text right here with your answer to each of those questions. So that's the format that I want you to do. And that format's followed over and over again, but it's different for each specific topic. So like I said, in this case, it's the logical diagram, then it's the physical diagram, and so on. Now back to this one, to help get you started, you need a case, and that's what the request for proposal is about. So here's the request for proposal. So I'm trying to give you a little bit of context there and some specifics about what your client needs. So take a look at that there. Also, I've given you a template. Now, the first thing the template is going to do when you click on it, it's going to ask you to make a copy. And I want you to copy that into your shared folder that you created as part of homework 0. And once you do that, it's going to open up and show you the different different sections that I've already created. Are you limited to those? No, you're not. You're certainly free to add to those. But I'm trying to give you a shell of a document from which you can get started from to make sure that you're covering everything that you need to cover for this submission. Now, one of the things I want to point out is you're submitting the link each time to the very same document. It's not to a different document each time. So for logical diagram 1, your very first post, that one that's the Sunday before it's actually due, that's the same document that you're posting to DB2, which is the same document as DB3. In other words, you're building on the same project each week. So sometimes that confuses students. Let's see, next thing is the presentations. At the very end of the semester, you have a presentation that you need to make. So I kind of give you some background on there about what's expected. Essentially, you're going to present your project proposal to me. Everyone's going to do it. Usually I like to do these as team projects and as asynchronous sessions. Unfortunately, because of the way this class is being laid out and how we're doing things, it's an individual assignment and it's going to have to be asynchronous. So I need you to record your presentations. You can do it in PowerPoint. There's actually several different ways of doing it. You can use PowerPoint, you can use Google Slides, you can use Prezi, you can use all kinds of stuff to be able to capture it. Screencastify is a free feature, a free plugin in Google Chrome that you can use to capture both your talking head as well as the content on the screen. So there's no reason to go out and pay for anything. There's lots of free solutions. But I'm also giving you a lot of flexibility. If there's something else, some other tool out there that you prefer to use, you're certainly welcome to do that. But it does need to include your whatever slides or slide content that you use, a program that you use, as well as some sort of a talking head, because we are assessing your oral presentation skills as part of this assignment. I want it 5 to 7 minutes in length. I really don't want a dissertation. At the same time, if you go 2 minutes, you're probably not going to cover anywhere near the content that you need to cover. In fact, it's probably going to be tough to cover the content that you need to cover in just 5 to 7 minutes. But I really need you to be focused and hit the important things very quickly and concisely, and do a very professional job. Exams, there's 2 exams in this class. There's one midterm and one final. The midterm is in Blackboard. It's not showing up yet. It will show up the week of the exam, the week that it's actually scheduled here in Blackboard. The final exam is in TestOut. It's administered through Examity, so you'll come here for Examity, log into Examity, and then be directed to TestOut to take the final exam. Also, as part of homework 0, when you're creating your profile, that the description of that's right here of kind of what you're doing there. Homework 1, when you schedule your final exam, is right here. I say homework 1, one of the homework assignments later on, where you schedule your final exam is right there. And then finally, where you actually take the exam is right here. It kind of describes the process for that. So those are your deliverables. Then you got communications. You noticed yesterday I sent out an announcement, so those will be posted there. Course messages, again, if you want to send me something that's of a personal nature, that's where you send that. Virtual office hours, a lot of times if we need to talk, if we can look at the same things, for example, we're looking at your semester project, that's how we want to do it. That way we can share screens and we're looking at the same things. Pardon me. Next is My Grades, and this is a great tool. It helps to be able to communicate your progress in the class. So consider this a form of feedback. In fact, if you're not finding some of the other forms of feedback that I'm giving you in the discussion boards and your Google Doc, things like that, let me know, because I usually provide a lot of feedback, and I want you to be able to take advantage of that. So be sure and check your grades regularly. That way you know exactly where you stand in the class. And like I said, it's a form of feedback and helps you know where you are throughout the semester. I usually turn grades around pretty quickly, and we'll talk about that more in the syllabus video. Slides for this semester are right there. These are the slides that are associated with your text. So various slides right there. And social media, you can follow me if you want to. You don't have to, but here's some different ways to kind of keep track of that. I like also to keep things a little lighter. So I try to include some what I think are relevant, funny videos. If you are aware of any that are somewhat clean and relevant to IT, by all means, share them with me. Blackboard Help Desk, so if you have any issues there, you can look at their help feature. I personally think it's pretty user-friendly anyway, but if you are struggling, I would contact our help desk first, just because I think they're that good. They can usually take care of something really quickly over the phone. Also, something I like to keep track of is the learning style and personality of the students coming into the class. So this is kind of the, an overall assessment of students I've had over the years. So you're being added to this as you complete this here at the beginning of the semester. So you can kind of get an idea that students are pretty observational, meaning they have a preference for external stimuli such as demonstrations and diagrams. And this works out well with test out because they do a lot of demonstrations. They show you how to configure a network card and things like that, for example. You don't like group work. I usually like to have students do group work. It's just in this particular class, I can't really make that happen in this class. It needs to be individual. But you can kind of get some ideas of the makeup of the class there. Same thing on personality, tend to be very open. So breadth, depth, originality, complexity of an individual's mental and experiential life, and very low on neuroticism. That's probably a good thing. So it's just something that's kind of interesting. Also, course evaluations at the end of the semesters, I have students do this, and I'll need to figure out exactly what's going on there. But so you can kind of take a look at that and see. You should be able to have access to this. If you don't, let me know. But you should be able to see the other ways that students have evaluated me in the past. I take feedback any way I can get it. So I do my own assessments. I also look at the feedback that I get from the university, and then I even take a look at Rate My Professor. So if you want to post something there, you're more than welcome to do that too. In fact, I'll send you out a link at the end of the semester to do just that. Like I said, I take feedback from wherever I can get it. So that is our Blackboard shell in a nutshell. So if you have any questions, reach out to me, let me know, send me a message or whatever, and just let's have a great semester. Take care. Bye.